Hey, what's up you guys? So I'm coming at you with another video in my Maverick series, making videos really controversial kinda. And today we are doing the most, talking about Asian Exit, Axit, Walkawasian, doing it up. Let's get into it. But of course, if you're new to my channel, what is up? My name is Mitch, Maverick Mitch. Hey Mitch, all the Mitches, and pretty much I like talking about what I like talking about. So current events, reviews, and pop culture within the scope of entertainment, culture, and purpose. So TV and movie reviews, social political commentary. Check out all those videos as you're finishing this video. Also, just real quick on TV movie reviews, I think Mandalorian drops today. Gotta watch that. Also, the Craft sequel drops. I saw the trailer. It looks more like Harry Potter magic. I have issues because I like the Craft. I use all the gifs about it, right? But it looks Harry Potter magic versus like realistic Vampire Diaries magic, so already have issues. But Tim Pool said it was woke, so obviously that runs into this kind of channel topics, so I'm gonna need to watch that. So I'm kind of feeling myself with doing all of maroon colors here just because I feel like the energy is up high on this video, because this is one of the main reasons why I'm doing my channel, right? We're talking about Walkawasian, talking about Asian Exit, Axit, Filipino Exit, Flexit, Flip Out, and all that stuff. And so I want to dedicate this episode to these topics, right? Obviously I've done like so many videos on this. So should Filipinos walk away from the Democrat Party? What are Asian values, Filipino values, and all of these walk away videos as well. And so pretty much I want to use this opportunity to highlight another person in the fight. So back in March, I did a video on what would Filipino conservative values look like. And so in that video, I mentioned Flexit, saying that like if I was going to coin a term for Filipino exit, that was going to be it. But I also mentioned about Axit, and no one was leading the Axit movement. But now is the Filipinos, right? And a portion of, and they used to be for the Democrats used to be for the minorities. And I think there's a political shift that's doing, especially in the Walkaway movement with Flexit and Latino exit. And now, I don't know. There's another question into that. There's no Asian exit yet. There's no Filipino exit. There's no Flexit. And I will coin that term, Flexit. Movement. But now we do. Now we have the Korean conservative that is taking the reins on taking up the Axis movement. So, which is really great. So one thing on my channel is, and one thing that I had to do on my research is looking on YouTube if anyone is using the hashtag Axit, hashtag Walkawasian. And pretty much one thing that obviously I'm doing it on YouTube, and we have the Korean conservative that is doing it on social media, which is really great. So I met the Korean conservative last week at the Beverly Hills rally. I seen him doing more stuff on social media. So obviously we are combining forces. Me more so on YouTube, and he himself on social media, on Instagram. So, you know, that's one thing that's really great, that we're combining forces, right? And obviously, like, I had dinner with them, and he's super great, super knowledgeable and everything. And so again, if you want to do, like, if you want to follow him, you can follow the Korean conservative. He has a lot of spicy memes, so you can go ahead and check that out. And then obviously the main Axit movement is just as it is, the Axit movement. So you can go ahead and check that out. I'll just showcase a little picture. So this was from last weekend when I got to meet all these folks. And yeah, we had a great time, and we went to like Koreatown, and so had dinner over there after the whole rally at Beverly Hills and everything. So that was really great. And yeah, there we go. There's all of us and everything. So I mean, that was actually a good night because no one really gave us a hard time, because like the Korean conservative and two others were wearing the Trump gear and all that stuff, and like the rest of us didn't have Trump gear. So obviously no one really bothered us. There was one person that said F Trump or whatever, and so, but that was it. So which is kind of interesting because no one really bothered us, which is good. So there was that. So again, follow the Axit movement on Instagram, the Korean conservative, for all of this stuff on Instagram. Obviously, like I said, my stuff is my gear shift, my AOR, my area of responsibility is towards promoting it on YouTube, right? And so you can see his video 3 months ago on why should Asian Americans go conservative, vote Republican, promoting the Axis movement. Obviously, I'm promoting it, and so this thing is slowly but surely catching on. We'll actually we'll go into one of his videos and see what he has to say, because I haven't had the opportunity. I saw this clip, but I haven't had the opportunity to go into it. So we'll go in that right now. But Also, again, if you type in Walkawasian, a lot of my videos show up. And so, one thing I just want to really quick, I didn't come up with Walkawasian. It was actually Lisa Smiley, and I'll see it over here. So Lisa Smiley promoted in this video a year ago. I just ran with it, right? And so I've been using Walkawasian. I think it's just kind of fun, just because obviously the walkaway, and it promotes to the Asian of the walkaway. So yeah, so definitely check out that. And yeah. So I'll play the video from Weberz way of the Korean conservative having his interview, and then after that we'll do some more commentary.
Alright, you founded, what did you found?
Axit.
Oh, so what does that mean?
So it's like the Asian version of Blexit and Lexit.
I'm starting to, this is unbelievable. We got Lexit, Exit. How do you, Exit?
Oh, Axit. Asian
Exit.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm starting to love this. And don't you think it's kind of weird that all these different groups are supporting this president that everyone thinks is racist?
Okay, so a lot of the reason why people of color support the Democrats is because the entire Democrat platform has created, their platform is literally, oh, you poor people of color, oh, you poor immigrants. If you vote for us, we can help you. Meanwhile, an entire demographic of people are working hard, making money. We statistically, Asians make more money on average than white people in America. So that completely demolishes their narrative. Isn't it funny how the Democrats are always talking about how much they love diversity, but they almost never, when's the last time you heard them talk about Asians? You know why they purposely ignore that? Because we embarrass them. Your entire platform is created to say, oh, if you vote for us, we can help because you're poor people of color and poor people, poor immigrants. Asians are both people of color and immigrants, and we make more money on average than even white people here. We have higher education levels than even white people here, and we also have higher nuclear family rates than literally almost everybody else. And by the way, Asians include Indians, right? So when you combine all of us together, like, we are doing the most well. That's why the Democrats never want to talk about us, because how embarrassing is that?
Excellent, excellent, right there. Because we are not victims. Asian Americans are not victims. And when it does, like, why when we do so well, like, that's why they use the Asian minority, the model minority as a framework to, like, hey, like, that's a myth or whatever, but we actually do well. Like, we actually don't need to depend on anyone other than ourselves and our own community, you know? And so, yes, and then when all of the conservative values, family, hardworking, all of that speaks definitely to the Asian American community.
How embarrassing is that to them? It's like, we can help you. The one group that you guys have never tried to pander to, like you did to the blacks and Latinos, the one group you guys, major ethnic group, major racial group, the one group you ignored, is also the one group that tends to be doing better than everybody else. Isn't it funny how that works?
That is funny how that works. That makes a lot of sense. So wow. So is there a lot of Asians supporting Trump?
Unfortunately, if you're an Asian American who grew up here and you're relatively young, you're most likely going to vote liberal. Even if our culture, East Asian culture, is conservative culturally, you're most likely, because you've been brainwashed by mainstream media and college even before that, you're going to end up voting liberal because it's, you know, the cool thing to do. But, you know, if you come back to your roots and you understand the conservative nature of Asians, if you come back to some of your roots, you'll understand that Asian culture is highly conservative from the get-go. Like everybody here.
Yes, again, 100%. Like, you don't have to be a default Democrat to be in any of this. Like, 100%. Everything that I say in my channel, especially when it directed towards Filipino Americans, like, inherently our values are God, family, country, right? And so, like, a lot of us are religious, a lot of us are Christians, a lot of us, and that includes Catholics, like a lot of people like to separate that, but obviously I don't. But, you know, and we have a big nuclear family. We have extended family, not just Filipinos, but a lot of Asian cultures have extended family where they have, like, cousins live with them, or the grandma and grandpa lives with them and everything. So, like, that's a big part of Asian American community, right? And then obviously we have a lot of us who grew up, especially Filipino Americans in the West Coast in California, we grew up in, like, Filipino clubs, right? We are so proud of our culture. Like even when in high school, like before I even knew any of this stuff, like it was just a matter of I would say shallow pride. Like rice rockets, just Filipino stickers, Filipino colors, without even really knowing much about Filipinos, but at least you're embracing your identity about being Filipino. And so yeah.
Here thinks I'm conservative. No, if you meet my mom, she's a hardline conservative.
Okay, well that's good that she is a conservative.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. You made it almost like I thought you were ramping up that she was a major liberal.
No. So the thing, especially if you're Korean, like a lot of Korean Americans end up going Christian. So my mom is a hardcore Christian, and because Christianity ends up aligning the most with conservative values, she is a conservative as well. But what I'm simply saying is the conservatism coupled with her religion, coupled with the fact that she's a first-generation Korean, she's as conservative as it gets.
There you go. So with all that said, who are you voting for in 2020?
Trump, all the way. Republican policies are the ones that work out the best for Asian Americans for every reason. Think about all the ways that Asians are excluded in Democrat-run fields. Hollywood, how many Asians can you name that are stars? How many Asian Marvel or DC superheroes can you name? Not a lot, but they race-switched for black actors, even though the original characters weren't. Why? Because they need to pander to the larger voting bloc. So Asians complain all the time that, oh, we're never represented in Hollywood. Meanwhile, who runs Hollywood? It's overwhelmingly Democrat-voting liberals. Same thing with upper education. With affirmative action, now they're exclusively getting the rights, or they're allowing Asians to be discriminated against in upper education. Upper education is overwhelmingly run by Democrat voting liberals. According to Econ Journal Watch, the number of Democrat voting liberals in faculty and in the administration, including admissions, compared to the conservatives, was 12-1. So they literally run upper education as well. It's overwhelming. So look, so far, two things that were excluded in Hollywood, mainstream media, and upper education. Overwhelmingly liberal, and we're still voting for them. Now, number 3, let's look at the tech field, right? So even in the job market, YouTube is currently...
I love this!
Actively excluding Asian men from their hiring process. This is coming from one of their former workers. So even in the job market, we're being excluded against because they see us as the good, like we have it too good already, so they can take it, all right? And then finally, in city crime policies, statistically speaking, Asians are victimized by black criminals at a rate of 280 times more than the other way around. Yet, Democrat city politicians only pander to the black voting bloc because they want to stay in power. They don't care about, they say they care about the Asians, but they actually don't, because their city crime policies only pander to the BLM narrative and not the ones who are actually being victimized by, statistically speaking, black criminals. Why? Again, the bigger voting bloc. Asians don't make up a large enough voting bloc, so they generally don't care about us, right? So if you're wondering, oh, what kind of policies are the Democrat city politicians pandering to? Okay, defund the police for one thing, right?
Alright, so my camera shut off, so if you want to watch the rest of the interview, go ahead, look in the description, I'll link it below. But that was fire, right? Like, I am so glad, and the Korean conservative is just as on fire on that interview as he is in person. Like, obviously he's a solid guy, we all went to dinner, we all like had a good time, but like, when he start dropping facts, it is so great. So like, that's what I'm saying, like, even though like I'm promoting Walkawasian and Axit, this isn't anything about, you know, a competition. We are all on the same side. This is the Avengers, yo. So like follow the Korean conservative on Instagram because he is in the fight just as much as I am. Obviously he's going to Beverly Hills again with the rest of the Axit crowd. I can't, so I'm doing what I can in Las Vegas. And so again, this is like the Avengers. You got the Filipinos, what up, right here, and you have the Korean conservatives. Obviously, it's not a matter of like this group, that group, but something that I mentioned in my video before is that it's hard to get the Asian Americans all together because unlike the Latinos, like we don't have a common language to combine ourselves, right? Like when it comes to the Asian countries, East Asian is different from South Asian, different from Southeast Asian. Like none of our writing system, our language are all different. Like we have different customs, and so it is hard to come the Asians together. So really, you're getting the Filipinos for Trump, you're getting the Vietnamese for Trump, Chinese, Hong Kong, you know, Koreans. You have all of these other groups coming together, but obviously we need an umbrella group, and that's what the Korean conservative is doing with Axit movement. Obviously, I'm doing the same thing with the Walkawasian. So pretty much we're just combining forces, right? And so all of that was super fire. I love that. I love his energy. I love his passion, because what he's saying is the truth. And we don't have to be default Democrat, right? We don't have, because the left wants to pander for minorities, but it's hard to pander to the minority Asian Americans that are actually doing well without their help. So why are Asian Americans voting Democrat when we don't need them? What we need is less government and just have the rights that is already there enforced. Two-way, free speech, all that. And again, all of that is straight fire. Also, one thing that the Axit movement is doing on their channel, on their Instagram page, sorry, is that they are promoting essentially Walkaway stories, so Axit stories. So be sure to check out their page, so for all these stories, as much as I'm doing it on my YouTube, promoting Walkaway stories, right? And so that's really one thing that we're trying to do. So that's also, be sure to check those things out. So final thoughts, obviously I'm doing this video to promote the Axit movement, the Korean conservative, as well as my channel doing Walkawasian. So please share with other people about this, people that you think that may be on the fence and everything, and saying like, why are people leaving the left, right? Why are people leaving the Democratic Party who are Asian Americans? And when all these people who are Asians for Biden, Filipino Americans for Biden, you know, you should share these pages, right? Ultimately, I get it. Elections are next week, and if anything, everyone has made the decision. But my thing is, after election, if God willing, Trump wins, like, people are gonna ask themselves, you know, why did people actually vote for Trump, you know? I want people to ask themselves, right? Because I don't know how this election is going to go. You know, they might prolong the results and everything, but I want people to realize, why is there this movement? Why is there a need for the Asian exit? Why is there a need for Latino and Black exit, you know? Why is there a need for the Walkaway movement, Walkawasian? I want people to question that, you know? Even if Trump wins, hopefully, again, God willing, if he wins, I want people who voted for not Trump to realize that there is a movement here, right? And you cannot say the same thing about Republicans leaving to the left. You can say that there's rhinos that were never Trumpers, but it's never been about someone who, like, I voted for Trump, you know, and now I changed my mind. Maybe the few, but it's not at the mass numbers as the Walkaway, right? And so I'm rambling on, but the point again is, hopefully this video before or after elections will come to people's recommendations, and maybe they will then question, why is there a Walkaway movement? And so I'll just leave it there. Tell me what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are on Axit, on Walkawasian, on like why Asians are voting Democrat and everything. So continue the discussion below. Also, please like, share, and subscribe as you are building this channel. I am seeing so much numbers raising up. I love it, and it's not because for me, obviously a little part of me, I would love for this to be a second income, obviously, but this is for the movement, right? This, like, when it comes to the Korean conservative, when it comes to me, we know what's at stake, right? And it's like America is at stake. Our values, our conservative values is at stake. And so it's Marxist ideology that I am not a fan of. I'm not going to be down for that. And that's taking over even Asian Americans. And like the Vietnamese understand that. The Chinese American, Hong Kong knows that. And so again, share this video. Again, I'm wrapping up. I'm rambling because again, this is that important, right? And so if you went up to this part, thank you so much. And then of course, if you can follow me at my Instagram at HeyMitchMitch, you can follow my joint Instagram at It's Mandatory Fun, where I do other videos for my friend Jen. I'm also on Parlor, Maverick Mitch. And then thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Peace, peace, peace. Be with you.
I ain't feeling lonely, and I want a minute, it's time to end the ride. Fading it too slowly, with those gonna lift me up.